I've got an idea that I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but I've been thinking about it basically since I received this. And I've been going through my head all the different possible ways that I could like maybe try and make it work, all of which I'm fairly content to just like let sit in my mind and me be like satisfied with the fact that I even thought that it could be an option. Lo and behold, I still today don't know if it'll like work kind of the way that I'm thinking I would like for it to. So instead of spending any more time theorizing or like thinking about how it could be done, I'm just gonna go actually do some field testing. If it works, that's the next step towards the video I wanna make and have been thinking about. If it doesn't, then I can put this all to rest. That, and it's a really good excuse to go ride today because it's really nice and I know snow is coming. And so Norton and I are back here on the same trail that we brought this thing out when we tried out the offset bushings for the first time. Mostly because I wanted to come to this specific descent to try and do the test run of this like camera setup shot that I have pictured in my head of how it's going to turn out, and I'm doing my best to keep my expectations here. They're secretly kind of up here, and reality I assume will be more down here. But I brought a plethora of tools and extra bits and bobs in an attempt to create a somewhat stable mounting area so that it doesn't bob around and move around too much, and hope that it gets where I want it to be. So this next shot, which I haven't seen yet, will be the net result of the work done here on the trail. All right. Well, this is what I've rigged up. The idea was that it would be like a cool follow cam style clip, but every time we go over bumps and this shakes enough, this doesn't like it and turns off. So back to the drawing board, I guess. I'm admittedly a little bit bummed that that's not going to work out the way I kind of wanted it to, and also that I didn't take the time to wash this thing after a muddy ride. But you don't really know what the outcome of an idea is going to be until you try the first step of said idea. Well, that'll be fun to come to later. Do you see these three gorilla pods right here? These little like bendy tripods that you pretty much see every YouTube vlogger, creator, or someone out on the go using. They'll have it under the camera. Some are small, some are slightly bigger, some are even bigger. Well, this is the one I've been using for the last probably year or so, and it broke. So did this one, and so did the one before this. So 3 have broken. Each time I've gone to the slightly bigger, more expensive version, hoping that it'd be tough enough that the sockets won't eventually crack and, you know, do this. When you put it down on something, it just lets the camera fall. That's annoying. So when I bought the new camera and this microphone, I bought the biggest one that Joby makes with like the plate, all this stuff that like I'm never gonna use. And these are expensive, which sucks because it's put me in a position where I'm afraid to use this. I've taken it out of the box, I've attached the camera to it a couple of times, and I've purposely walked around like this because I don't wanna bend the arms because I don't want it to break again. Well, for this Q&A, I'm gonna use this tripod and I'm gonna finally bend the arms. Just rip off the Band-Aid. All right. So as always with every Q&A, it goes on to the community tab of the channel. If you missed it, also, if those twinkling lights behind us are bothering you, just let me know. I'll turn them off. Question 1, What's the best way to donate parts to the channel? If you are in the position and want to donate parts to the channel to see them make it to a build, just send me a message on Instagram. I get a lot of messages through like the run of a week, and I'm kind of always out doing a bunch of stuff. I don't always get back to them all. It's not because I'm ignoring everyone. It's because I'm trying to do stuff like this. So just, are you still planning a collaboration with Dustin Klein? As of right now, no. Is steel real? I have enough parts in my bin, and I'm seriously considering a custom frame from a local artisan that he offered me. I really like steel as a frame material choice. That purely comes from my background of riding BMX, riding like 4130 built chromoly steel tube frames, seeing them get tossed and thrown and beat around on everything. So I just kind of have this like sentimental attachment to steel in general, but also like the Chinelli is steel, the Rock Hopper is steel, and like I'm a big fan of the way those bikes ride. If you're gonna say no to it, get me their contact information. I will take up the reins. I just think steel is a better looking and cooler material to build with. This is a funny question, but it's not meant to be. Do you normally have training goals when you go out for a ride, like speed, mileage, or do you just rip around? I always and will always continue to just rip around. There was a little while I was super into cyclocross racing that I tried to do some structured training, and the word structured is more just like I bought a Sufferfest video and I would do it like 3 times a week, just at random times, and then I would go ride in the snow. That was like the best I ever did in cyclocross was that year. Changing a 90s 26-inch mountain bike to a 650B gravel bike, more trouble than it's worth. It's not more trouble than it's worth, but it might be more money than it's worth, depending on like how much you love that frame set or not. Because you can just buy the Paul, adjustable Paul Moto V-brake calipers, and they'll adjust up to a 29-inch wheel, and you can get that brake to work with any size wheel you want. It's just, do you want to spend that much money? It's just, do you want to spend the money to buy those brakes to be able to make that wheel size work on the frame you have? Favorite bike in the fleet right now? I think the track lacrosse bike. I've seen you running in some videos. Have you ever done a marathon, a half marathon, or any events? Yes, I did a marathon 2 years ago, I guess 2.5 years ago, the Blue Nose Marathon here. I completed it in a time of 4 hours and 7 minutes and change. Half marathons I've never done in an event, but literally this past Friday, Aaron and I went and did a half marathon in the woods. Anyway, yes, I've done a lot of long distance running. Are you gonna make iron-on patches? I want to add some to my bike bags. Brad, I want to make patches. I'm just a little bit afraid to invest into products right now. Give it some time. Tips for running or cycling with a dog. When your dog is a puppy, bring them to wherever you're gonna go and like hike that trail with them a little bit. Keep them on a leash if they like to run away. But just good recall and them to have good manners to be out of the way. So when you're hiking or something and they're in the way, I used to just like push Norton with my foot to get him to move. And that seemed to translate to mountain biking pretty well. He has a real tendency to follow instead of be in front. So he's like, I'll just stay back here. You seem to make poor decisions and I'll just see how it ends up for you. And then I'll follow. Do you ever miss having to make the daily commute or the shop time that made up so much of your earlier content? Has making the vlog your job now made ideas for content creation more or less difficult? I miss the daily commute. I don't miss working in the shop. The background was cool, but I think the shed in this office is just as cool. If we changed from here, I think we would miss this as much as we missed the shop that I worked at. The ideas are there always, and sometimes they just like take over. There is no shortage of ideas, and every so often I'll like have one that I'm really excited about and I'll be like, well, I should do something else first, and then like I'll just sit in paralysis for like 2 hours and not have done anything and been like, Oh, well, I need to do something now. How to cut a steer tube without the proper guide to cut it straight. Aluminum or carbon? Cheap frame, decent parts, or decent frame, cheap parts? Also, your recommendations for the best cheap light road wheels. What you got on the LA Sprint? On the LA Sprint, they are Reynolds Assaults. My opinion, and I was literally talking about this with my friend Nick the other day, cheaper frame, expensive parts. What are your thoughts on bike packing? Would you do it? I think it looks like a super good time. It's everything I like to do. I like to camp. I like to ride bikes. I like to drink like very artisan, hipstery coffee. Would I do it? Yeah. What is the gravel tire size for riding single track on with not much rolling resistance? I think 42 personally. Do you think dirt bikes or dual sport motorbikes are cool? Yes, so much. If I could afford it, I would own one. G60, VR6, or 1.8T? VR6, come on. Why are gum walls so good looking? It's because of the contrast. Okay, that'll be the end of today's Q&A.
QR code, you then scan it, and you get anywhere between 25 cents and $100,000. According to the